Hi, I'm Shelley Dole. I'm the Professor of Education at the University of the Sunshine Coast. I've been at this university for 2 years and my career has been very much involved in teacher education and working with teachers in schools to try to help teachers build better outcomes for students in their learning. I'm particularly interested in all curriculum aspects and focus specifically on numeracy and mathematics, and looking at cross-curricular capabilities of building social and emotional well-being of students, and also a focus of teacher professional development and working with teachers. I first learnt about the DeLorean Project when Rob Steffler came to my office, and he wanted to talk to me about the project that he was running in his school. He talked to me about the Year 10 curriculum, how they had completely rechanged it, and it was all focused on problem-based learning, working with technologies, building entrepreneurial mindset, but also at the same time building general capabilities of problem solving, reasoning, critical thinking, working with technology and working with other people, and working and developing self-confidence. I was immediately struck by this new approach to curriculum because it fits and aligns with all the current discussion about skills for the 21st century for our learners, and preparing students for worlds that don't exist, but also preparing them for now and building their self-reliance and confidence in their learning. My role within the School of Education is pre-service teacher education, but it's also research and working with schools and building connections with the community. When Rob first came and talked to me about DeLorean, I could see immense research possibilities. It was also a way to promote what schooling should be like right now in the 21st century for preparing young people for the future. I wanted to be part of it. I wanted to know what was going on. I know that I asked a lot of questions of Rob because I wanted to know how. Because a lot of times we talk about how schools should be different, and here was a school that was actually doing different. And I wanted to know what was happening. I wanted to know what the teachers were doing, who was doing it, how it was working in the timetable. So I went down to visit Rob's school, and it was just an amazing experience. At the university, we are all focused on obviously teaching our programs and courses and tertiary education, but we're also focused on research. Rob's project as a school-based research project is very much the sort of research that is important for the world to learn about and to know. So as a higher education institution, I wanted to go to Rob's school to see if there were possibilities of research around this project, that we could collect some data and assist in getting this message about how to do this school in other settings. So we're very, very much interested in how this could be scaled up in other schools, how this school might be a blueprint for schools of the future and schools of now. And I wanted to know how it was building students' confidence and how the curriculum was being taught through this approach. The research partnership so far has been very collaborative, and a lot of meetings and discussion, and together bringing everybody's collective ideas and strengths to this project to talk about how we can collect data in a more rigorous fashion, how we can progress the research agenda forward, and also drawing on everybody's expertise to think of how the program can be sustained and scaled up. I know that this project started in Year 10 and that it has also moved into Year 7 and 8. I know that the school has been looking at how this can be a whole of school approach, and they have come to us to talk about what we do in schools and how we can look at the learning outcomes across the curriculum. So when we get together, there's a lot of energy and a lot of brainstorming and a lot of great ideas that get put forward, and ways of how we can work together to look at actually the curriculum being taught in a different way, looking at the general capabilities and even assessing that. And that's been one of the big questions that we've been researching. How do we teach the general capabilities in the curriculum, which is part of the Australian curriculum that we are teaching? The research team started with Adam Polkinghorne, who is a scientist here at the university, and his connection with Glasshouse was working with the school and providing students who had an interest in science to come and do real science in a real lab through this program. From that point, I also was connected with our entrepreneur expert who is in the School of Business, and she talked about how this builds entrepreneurship, and that absolutely fits within Skills for the 21st Century. I also have a wonderful research assistant. Her name is Catherine Thiele. She's a classroom teacher. She has been helping me with the literature review. She has also been assisting with the design and implementation of the data collection tools. She's a whiz on a computer, so she's been terrific in gathering data through online means. She's also made a lot of connections with the school by visiting students and talking with them about their projects. The team has also expanded now to include Dr. Peter Granger from the School of Education. He's an expert in assessment, and he is going to bring that knowledge to this project to build the team efforts further and to assist the school in designing new assessments that align with this absolutely exciting approach to education. This project is really exciting, but it started with one teacher with one idea about why schooling needs to change, and his energy enthusiasm that has spread through the school. The school is abuzz. He has now brought more and more teachers on board as this project filters through the whole curriculum, and more teachers see the possibilities of how they can change their pedagogy. From a research perspective, this needs to be sent out to the wider community, and we're going to do this and help Rob do this through research publications, but also presentation at other schools, at local forums and at national and international conferences.
Hi, I'm Catherine Thiele. I'm Shelley's research assistant for this project. I'm also a lecturer here at the University of the Sunshine Coast. There were three main things that excited me. First was actually Rob himself as a leader and the energy he brought to the room. I know Shelley would agree with me on that. But not just Rob, he empowered the facilitators, and what each and every one of those facilitators brought to this DeLorean project was really quite unique, and I saw that. Then thirdly, it would have to be when I got to work and talk with the students. They were so open and willing to share what they liked and didn't like about the project, and their connection to me and wanting to have an opinion was really important and valued. I could tell that this project was special. What was particularly interesting with the facilitators of the DeLorean project was how it was actually during one of their lunch breaks. They all sat around and debriefed about what had just happened, the learning that had occurred, where to next. And I remember thinking, this team are extremely dedicated to this project and to these students and to the learning that's happening in that room. So much so that they would sit there through their lunch break to do so. When I was speaking with the students, something that struck me was the different mindset shifts that happened with their learning. Some students would openly say, I failed at this, or I had to move groups, or I didn't have success at this component. Yet they spoke about it openly, and they also shared their experience of how they moved out of that into a more positive learning experience. It was a really empowering conversation. As a research assistant, collecting the data was one of my roles, and we were fortunate enough to do all our surveys online, and this data was then presented to myself and the research team to look at and unpack. Since the day that happened, the DeLorean staff and facilitators have been asking and questioning what the data told us so that we could help them with their practice and so that they can move this project forward. We're already seeing some solid trends in the data, that students are identifying themselves, that they are having success in things, in those 21st century skills that are so essential, such as collaboration, working in teams, having capacity in ICT, interpersonal skills, and collaborating outside of the school context was also something that they definitely said they saw success for themselves.
As a School of Education at the University of the Sunshine Coast, our core business is pre-service teacher education. What we have with our partnership with DeLorean is a real living example of classrooms where our pre-service teachers can go in and see what we mean when we're talking about classrooms of the future. So we want our pre-service teachers to be inspired about what can happen. We talk about this from a research background when we present our lectures and our tutorials, and we explore research literature around how schools need to change. This is a real living example where our pre-service teachers can go and observe firsthand about the valuable way that DeLorean works for students right now.